Hello, everyone, and welcome to Precision Digital's webinar on the new light and horn accessory for Helios and ProVu meters. Before we dive into today's webinar, I'm going to address a couple of bookkeeping issues, such as the questions that I most commonly get asked during these webinars. First, I want to let you know that this webinar is being recorded, and you will receive a copy of the recorded webinar, as well as the slides that you're going to see here today, in an email that should be going out sometime mid-next week. So if you'd like to share this information with someone, you certainly can do that. If you know anyone who signed up but was unable to attend, they'll get this email as well. Second, as you may have noticed, you are all in listen-only mode. That's simply because, due to the number of people on the webinar, if we had all of these open phone lines, it would be unintelligible to try to follow along. However, you do have a chat window that most likely appears in the lower left of your screen. And you can use that to send in questions and chat with me during the webinar. And there'll be several points at which I'll pause and address the questions that come in. And the last issue I wanted to bring up is when you leave the webinar today, there's a survey that we would certainly appreciate you filling out. It's very short, and it just asks for your opinions on this webinar and a few short questions. If you can fill that out when we're done here today, we greatly appreciate it, and we use that information to help make webinars like this and to make these webinars talk about things you want to hear about and just improve their general quality. So it would be great if you'd take 30 seconds and just fill out your thoughts before you go. With that, why don't we get started talking about this new light and horn accessory. I'm your presenter here today. My name is Joe Ryan. I'm the VP of Sales and Marketing with Precision Digital. And what we're hoping to do here today is give you a brief overview of the light and horn option, talk about how it applies first for the Helios large display meter, and then for the ProVu, our line of 1/8 in digital panel meters and enclosures that go along with those 1/8 in panel meters. We're going to take a look at a couple of application examples just to get a sense of how you can wire these things up to work. And then at the end, we've got a few other new products from Precision Digital that we're going to give you a look at that aren't directly related to the light and horn, but really come in handy for any Precision Digital product or someone who works with our kinds of products. The takeaways I'd like for you today are to be able to identify ways you can use the light and horn accessory to satisfy your alarming applications, understand how the light and horn accessory installs in both of these cases for the Helios and for the ProVu because they are different. We're going to take a look at an actual demonstration of the light and horn and the reset button in action. And I want you to know which enclosures for the ProVu the light and horn are compatible with. Now, before we jump into that, I have a few questions for you just to help us plan future webinars better. And the first one is, where are you located? Is it in Eastern, Central, or Western U.S., Canada, or if you're somewhere else? If you click on Other, as some of you are, I'd appreciate you typing in what that other is in your chat window, just so I have an idea of where you might be joining us from. And it looks like the majority of you are from the Eastern and Western U.S., so we've got from some from Central and Canada as well as a few others. So others, I'd certainly appreciate getting some feedback there. And the last question I've got before we jump in, what's the industry you work in? Are you an industrial distributor, or are you an end user of these kinds of products in a specific space? All right, you've had a few seconds to get those answers in, and by far and away, it looks like industrial distributor is the most popular response, and so I will make sure that we gear this discussion today a little bit towards those of you who are industrial distributors out there trying to sell these products to an end-user market. So let's take a look at this new light and horn, huh? So what does it do? Well, the idea is to add visual and audible alarm capabilities to our Helios large display meters and our ProVu panel meters. We do this by providing a light and horn you see here, or one similar to it, which are wired up to and controlled independently by the relays in the Helios and the ProVu. Those can be configured independently. Both the relays themselves can be wired up to the light and horns independently, but also each individual relay can be programmed independently for its own function, and we'll see in a bit why that's so good. You can have these horns and lights, or you can have the horn, you can have the light flash if you'd like, or it can be on steady. And one of the big advantages of Helios and ProVu meters is that they come with a 24-volt transmitter power supply. And that power supply can also be used to power up the light and horn. So you don't need to worry about having an additional power supply in order to run these products, these accessories. So how do you install those? Well, for the Helios meter, Precision Digital mounts it and wires it directly to the product for you at the factory. So you get a box. In that box is contained a product that looks like the one you see here on the left, and the light and horn and push button are already installed for you, ready to go. To get that, you order the Helios and you order the modification part number, the MOD part number you see here. It's a larger part number in completion to show you what kind of light and horn you're getting. But you order those two line items and you get this one complete product. In the case of the ProVu, we provide the enclosure with holes drilled for the light and horn and the reset button. But you mount these once you get them in the field. So we're going to ship you out essentially a kit that has the light and horn, the push button, the box. The holes are all drilled, and you just need to take 30 seconds to a minute to put them in and thread them on. In that case, when you're ordering these, you're going to get the meter, you're going to get the enclosure, and then you're going to get the accessory part number where we modify the enclosure and include the light and horn. So how is it powered up? In fact, I see some questions coming in that ask that right now. Well, the light and horn is powered by the meter's 200 milliamp internal transmitter power supply. The light and horn combine for about 17 milliamps for the red light, 20 milliamps for the horn, for a total of 37 milliamps used. That's only 37 milliamps of a possible 200 milliamps. So typically, you're going to have plenty of power left over to not only run a 420 milliamp loop if you have, say, a loop power transmitter, but if you have a transmitter that draws, say, 100 milliamps, it's a 4-wire transmitter, and it has a 20 milliamp control loop it needs to run, well, even that's only 120 milliamps. You add the 37 for the light and horn, you're still under that 200 milliamp offering. Now, if you have other equipment going in and that 200 milliamps just isn't enough, note that we do offer a power supply, the PDA 1024-01, which will take in 120 volts AC and provide you 1.5 amps out at 24 volts. So we do have a beefier power supply you can put in the back of the enclosure if you need it, but for most applications, that internal 200 milliamp power supply is going to be plenty. Now, I talked a little bit about how to order it, and I want to make sure that's understood. So all of these items are sold separately. So in the case of the Helios, you'd order the Helios large display meter itself as one line item on the purchase order. And then you would have a second line item on your purchase order, the MOD, PD2, LH, and then there'll be some additional characters, which we'll see in a bit, which tell us to drill the Helios, wire it up, and install the light and horn and push button. And again, in the case of the ProVu, you're going to order the specific ProVu meter you want. You're going to order the enclosure that works with this light and horn. And then you're going to order the light and horn specifying which light version you would like. So you're going to have 2 or 3 different line items that let us know what kind of kit you're looking for us to put together. A fully assembled Helios that's going to come with all of this in a box ready to go, or a 3-line item purchase order that's going to get you the meter, the enclosure, and the horn separately packaged, but all in one kit that you can very easily put together in the field. So what does this look like in the Helios? Well, we include the light with an 85 decibel horn and reset button. These come again mounted and wired from the factory, ready to go. powered by the internal transmitter power supply, so you're all set there. You just have to power up the Helios. And note that we have up to 4 internal relays on the Helios, which means that you have 4 relays to either run your light and horn or run your light and horn and then have a few left over for other features. For example, in a simple application, you could have 1 relay running the light, 1 relay running the horn, the button being to silence the horn, and then you'd still have 2 other relays to go back to your PLC or control pumps for pump control or do whatever other relay alarming capabilities you need. It's worth noting here that with the Helios, we maintain the NEMA 4X rating, but adding the light and horn and the push button does void the UL. It's not that we think it's dangerous, it's just that UL didn't fully test this product with the light and horn installed yet, and so we don't have UL approval on a complete product like this. Although all you're doing is adding a low voltage light and horn and a simple contact switch into a UL listed product. I've talked about different light options. So here are the different versions that are available. You've got a single color light, which can flash or be steady on, depending on how you wire it. That's available in red, green, yellow, blue, or white. If you want to have multiple colors, we offer a multicolor light, which is a single light. It looks just like the single color light. However, based on what wires get power, it can be selectable for red, green, yellow, blue, or white. So note that that is always a steady-on light. You can't have that one flash. And then we've got the 3-layered color light, essentially a light stack already built up for you. And in that case, you've got individually controlled red, yellow, and green lights, which can be flashing or steady on. The pricing for these is dependent on what kind of light you want. So in addition to the cost of your PD2, your MOD part number is going to be $300 to $400 list. And it's going to depend on if you want a simple single color light, which would be all of these $300 lights, the 5-color single light, or the light stack. And now I'm going to show you a short video that's going to demonstrate the Helios with the light stack in action so you can really see what this looks like.
Let's take a look at this short demo of the Helios with the light and horn in action.
Okay, here we have one of our Helios process meters. It's taking in a 4 to 20 milliamp input, and it also includes our new light horn option. You can see the light horn installed at the top of the meter, and there's also a reset button installed at the bottom of the meter there. And when you order this option, it comes completely installed and wired up. And because the Helios' relays can be programmed for a wide variety of functions, you can also program the horn and the light to come on and shut off various ways. So I'll demonstrate one particular way you can do it here. So we have a level application where we're controlling the level between 8 feet and 4 feet, and with 2 relays controlling a main pump and a backup pump, and those relays are also programmed to alternate. And finally, we have a high alarm that is connected to the light horn that will go off at 14 feet. And you'll notice that the horn can be reset anytime with the reset switch down below the meter, and the light will stay on until the high alarm goes back down below the reset point. So we fill up our sump up to 8 feet, and the first relay turns the main pump on, and now the sump empties back out down to 4 feet, and that relay shuts off. Next time up, because we have the pump alternation feature activated, at 8, the second relay turns the backup pump on, and now that falls back down below 4 feet and shuts off again. So the normal operation is just fill up, empty, fill up. Now let's say that the first pump kicks on, but it can't keep up with the level, and the level keeps rising up to 11 feet. And the second pump kicks on. Now we have two pumps on, but they also can't keep up. And so the level keeps rising up to 14 feet. And you'll see we get the horn starts to sound and the light flashes. And that horn can be reset with the reset switch. But in this particular case, we have the light programmed to stay on until the level falls back down below 10 feet. And it's important to mention that the light and the horn can be controlled by separate relays. So actually we have relay number 3 controlling the light and relay number 4 controlling the horn. And we have programmed the relays to operate in different manners.
So hopefully that video has given you a preview of what is possible with the Helios light and horn. Before I take a couple of questions, one more question for you, which is, how often do you specify digital displays? The majority of you seem to be industrial distributors, and it'd be interesting to know how many times that you run into these kinds of applications where you can source someone a solution that includes a ProVu or a Helios or one of the other precision digital displays. And I'm glad to see that it looks like the winner here is at least once per month. It looks like at least half of you are quoting these out at least once a month. If not, it's close to that. And a few of you are never, so hopefully those of you who clicked on never will see an opportunity for these kinds of displays, either to use yourselves or to provide to your customers as a complete solution. So before we move on to the light and horn specifically for the ProVu, there's been a couple of questions that I want to address based on what we've seen so far. The first one is, does it have a terminal strip inside of the box? And the answer to that question is no, we don't provide a terminal strip. In the case of the Helios, the wires internally go directly from the alarm down through the body of the meter. And then in this terminal box at the bottom where all the connections are made, we simply bring the wires in and connect them up to the connectors of the Helios for you. In the case of the enclosure, we bring the wires down into the box, obviously, where they hook up to the back of the meter. However, there is no additional terminal strip back there. Now, we do offer back panels for our enclosures. If that's something you want to put together on your own, you can do that. However, we don't provide that standard. I also have a question, which I think we've addressed since, but from Steve, it says, does the power supply have enough power to power the light and horn as well as a transmitter? And so just as a quick reminder, we do have a power supply that's powerful enough to power the transmitter and the light and horn. But again, it's all going to depend on what you're trying to power. So we can get you 200 milliamps, and hopefully that is enough to power the light, the horn, the transmitter, and the loop. But if not, we certainly can help you out with other power supply options. I've also been asked if these are LED lights, which they are. They are LED powered. And Pete, who asked that question, also asked what is the enclosure material. And I'll touch on that one in a little bit as we get into all the different versions of this product that are available for the ProVu. So the MODLH, the light and horn for ProVu meters, provides very much the same capabilities and advantages as the one for the Helios. You've got that 85 decibel horn, the same light. In this, we drill holes for the light, horn, and reset button in the enclosure, so you don't have to do any work with drills or Dremels. You just need to put the light where it goes, screw on the mounting nut, put the button where it goes, and screw on the mounting nut. It has the same power supply as the Helios, so it can run all of these as well. And once again, the ProVu supports up to 4 internal relays. In fact, there's even an accessory we're going to see in a bit that lets you control up to 8 relays if you have a lot of control features you want to do with the ProVu, and you also want to have a complex light and horn structure. The 3 light options for this product are the same, which are your single color, red, green, yellow, blue, or white, flashing or steady light. Your single 5-color light, which are again available in red, green, yellow, blue, or white. Or that red, green, yellow light stack that you see there on the right, which shows 3 independently controlled colors in the light stack. So what enclosures can you get to work with the ProVu and the light and horn? Well, the answer is almost any of the ProVu enclosures. The most popular, of course, is our PDA 2300 economical plastic enclosure. However, if you want painted steel, stainless steel, or even just a plastic enclosure like our 3400 series where the meter is completely behind the front panel and sealed off from being interacted with even the buttons, you can get that one as well. There are a few exceptions to see here, and you'll find these in the data sheets and such on our website when you go and research these products a little more. So I don't think we're going to let you buy the wrong one, but almost anything is available with the light and horn. The pricing for this is slightly less than that of the Helios, but essentially structured the same way. It's $275 for any of the single color lights, $325 for the 5-light single light, and $375 for the light stack version. And sorry about that. And now I'm going to show you another video. This one's very short. That's going to show you what that ProVu light and horn is like in action.
And now, let's see how the light and horn option works with the ProVu 1/8 DIN panel meter.
So what we have here is one of Precision Digital's ProVu digital panel meters mounted in one of our NEMA 4X boxes that also includes the light horn reset option. So you'll see the light horn mounted on top of the enclosure and the reset switch mounted in the front of the enclosure. And we're going to demonstrate an LEL application here where when the LEL reaches 20, the light and the horn are going to go off, and we will be able to reset that horn manually at any time with that reset switch, and then the light can only be reset after the level falls below 15. So let's take a look and see how that works. So light horn goes off at 20, and we can reset that horn with the switch, and the light stays on. And as it falls down to 18, we try to reset it again, but it can't reset because one nice thing about the Precision Digital relays, they can be programmed for a wide variety of functions. In this case, we can only reset it after the alarm condition falls below the set point. So we get down to 14, now we can reset that light. Now in this particular application, some transmitters require more than 200 milliamps power that the ProVu can provide. So in our enclosure, we are offering a external 24-volt transmitter power supply that mounts right in the back of the enclosure, and this power supply provides 1.5 amps of power. So you could install that right in the base of the enclosure and power up transmitters that require more than 200 milliamps.
So hopefully that's given you a good idea of what this looks like and what the internal cabling and such can look like as well. And I'll take a few more questions in a moment, but again, one for you. What's the primary application you run into for these kinds of remote monitoring or display and control products? Do you see a lot of pump control, level monitoring, or maybe it's flow level, temperature, pressure? If it's something else, for example, strain gauge, and you click on the other, well, just do me a favor and type in what that other is so we have a sense of what people are running into out there. And it looks like the vast majority of you have your primary application being level monitoring, which obviously is great for these products because this makes a nice package to go next to tanks. So I think that you'll get a lot of value out of this one, and I'm glad to see that that would have been my guess. So we are pretty in tune to what is going on out there. I'm going to show you a few application examples, but first I'm going to address just a couple other questions people have asked. For example, Steve's asked, are there longer cables available for the light and horn to add to existing meter installations? While we don't have longer cables available, I believe the one on the light and horn as they stand now are 3 feet. We do have the light and horn units available separately as accessories. So if you have a Helios already or you have a ProVu and you just want to mount the light and horn, you can find more information on those on our website right now. They're available for sale. They're in stock, and you can get just the light that you are looking for, or light and horn, I should say, that you're looking for, and you can install that into an existing installation using a 3-foot cable there. And of course, if you need more cable run, it's just wires. There's nothing special about that cable, so it would be pretty easy for you to wire up and get whatever length you want. I've also been asked if we have a separate brochure for this product. That's a great question, Pete, and especially valuable given all the distributors in the audience. We do have a couple of pieces that could be valuable for you. Precision Digital has done a mailer recently to advertise this product. Hopefully all of you in the audience have seen it. It's a large poster fold-out. And we've got plenty of those in-house that I'd be happy to send out for you to show to your customers. In addition, we have all of these products on our website. If you want to download the data sheets, email or print those out to show to people, you can certainly do that as well, and they give you a walkthrough of these products and all of the important specifications for them. So you can find the data sheets online, or if you want a handout that we can provide you, that poster is a great way to show someone the actual size of a Helios, the actual size of a light and horn, and on the other side it walks you through the enclosure option for the ProVu meter. So it's a great piece. Just let us know if you'd like to get them. Either tell me here or call us up and let us know. We'd be happy to ship some out. And then Mark, you've also asked, is the light and horn available in 120 VAC options? And it is not. These are all low voltage DC powered. We have them specifically because we want to power them from the ProVu and the Helios power supplies. Now, of course, if you only have 120 volts AC and you don't want to use a Helios or a ProVu power supply for it, we do have power supplies you can put in the box that you're mounting this in. But we don't have a just straight up 120 volt AC powered version of these horns. There are some other questions here. Unfortunately, for time reasons, I'm going to have to move on. Know that if I haven't gotten back to your question and we don't address it before the end, then we will contact you after the webinar and make sure you get an answer to whatever your question may have been. But I do appreciate everybody sending the questions in, so keep them coming. So these are a few application examples of how you could wire up the light horn and other relays. This, of course, being the simplest one. You've got relay 1, which is tied directly into your red light. It alarms whenever you go over or under the set point, depending on how you have it set up. And it's an automatically resetting alarm, so when it goes back past the reset point, it will simply clear the light. The second relay is being used to drive the horn. Again, that's just an alarm indication, essentially. However, this one we've got set up for latching, so you can reset that one with the push button. So this is your classic, I want my light on if I'm in alarm state, but I want to have a horn I can silence configuration. You only need 2 relays to do that. So you have an additional possible 2 relays to do with whatever you'd like. Send signals back to your PLC, run your pumps, have other kinds of indicators that may pop up, you name it. Now, another option, in this case using the 5-color light, is wired up through 2 relays. And the idea here is to have a green alarm or indicator when everything's okay. And then if you go too high or too low, you get a red light. So in this case, we're just using it for a red light under 200 or over 500. Otherwise, if it's in the 200 to 500 range, everything's all set. Now, we're obviously using these numbers as an example, but they could be anything you want. It could be how many gallons are in a tank, the level of a sump, you name it. And you just set your set and reset points up so that they clear appropriately because, again, their action's all set to auto. And relay 3 and relay 4 are both set up to run the horn such that if it goes under 200 or over 500, you get that same alarming horn sound. But, again, we've got them set up to latch so you can have your silence push button. And here's an example of what you can do with the 3-color light using 2 of our Form C relays. In this case, we have, again, the everything's okay green indicator. In this case, when you're under 200. we have a warning yellow light come on between 200 and 500. And if you're over 500, you get the red alarm light. So in this case, we're only going to ever be lighting one of those lights at a time, and it's going to get progressively worse in color as the level continues to rise. And just like the last example we saw, relays 3 and relay 4 are each independently running the horn part, but you'll notice that we have a warning and a high alarm. So if you silence that warning alarm, when it gets into the high alarm state, it's going to sound again and require someone to come up and acknowledge it. There are a lot of different ways that you can wire these to work, and there's a lot of different ways our relays can be programmed to function. If you have applications and you're struggling with how to get it set up the most effective way to do what you want, I'd urge you to just give us a call. Let us know, and we'll try to help you out by walking you through how you might be able to program it or how you might be able to wire it to get the effect you're looking for out of your light and horn. But my hope is that this gives you some sense of how you can operate these. So there are a few other accessories I'd like to mention, two of which are immediately applicable to the light and horn option, which is the 1024-01 power supply, which we mentioned previously. That's that DIN rail mounted power supply, and so here we're showing in the back of the meter. Note that while it doesn't come with the product, this back panel in the back here is available for our enclosures, as is the DIN rail mount, as well as the power supply itself. We also have our PDA 1004 4-relay expansion module, and that's this black module you see here on the right. That connects up to the back of the ProVu via a cable that's included with the expansion module and gives you access to an additional 4 Form A relays for the ProVu. So if you needed 3-4 relays just to get the alarm sequence you wanted for your light and horn, you can add an additional 4 relays so you can still have relays available for pump control, other alarms, signals back to other equipment to your PLC. The power supply is $82, and the 1004 4-relay expansion module is $83. Useful when working with our products, but not directly related, is our new PD9502 low-cost signal generator. As you can see, this is a small handheld unit that's designed to generate a 0 to 20 milliamp, 4 to 20 milliamp, 0 to 10, or 2 to 10 volt range signal. It's easy to carry around, throw in your glove box, keep in your toolbox. And it's powered by either a 15 to 27 volt DC signal, and we do supply a wall plug supply for that, or it can be USB powered. So for example, if you've got one of those small battery packs you might use to recharge your phone when you're on the road, you can use that power pack to to light this up and provide a 4 to 20 milliamp output. It's very simple to use. It's just got one range push button and a knob that you use to adjust the signal. So if you just need the means to generate 4 to 20 milliamp signals while you're out in the field, it's a really great $99 low-cost way to do that. And along the same lines, we also have our PD420, which is a panel mount 4 to 20 milliamp generator. Now, this is loop powered. So you mount it in a panel, you provide a 24 volt supply to it, and then you use the knob to adjust the 4 to 20 milliamp value going through this loop. So if you wanted to, say, manually control the signal going to a valve position, or you wanted to have the ability to have a manual test on a system, this is a nice low-cost way for $149 for you to install this in a panel and manually generate a 4 to 20 milliamp output. Now, my last question before getting to your last questions is this. Is there any reason that you'd like Precision Digital to contact you? It could be to talk about any of the products you've seen here today, talk about applications that use them, or something completely unrelated. Maybe you've got something else in your mind you'd like to talk to us about. In any of those cases, I'd be happy for you to click yes here, and we'll be sure to get in touch following the webinar, likely sometime next week. So a few final questions. Jeff has asked if a 2-relay unit, meaning a Helios or a ProVu, 2 relays, has been already purchased or installed, can additional relays be added afterwards? And the answer to the question is yes. We do sell a 4-relay module that you can install. Now that could be the 4-relay expansion module you just saw, or it could be a printed circuit board card you use to replace that 2-relay unit that's in there. You'd have to open the back of the case for that, but that's a great way to get access to a full set of 4 Form C relays. So we can go either way. We can provide you a replacement board for internal to the unit, or we can provide you with just a 4-relay expansion module you plug into the back, which is a lot easier, but only gets you Form A relays. Ben is asking a question about the 4 to 20 milliamp panel mount signal generator, which is, can the panel mount generator be scaled to represent either PSI or feet of pressure head? And the answer to that is no. You can't scale this unit. This is a simple 4 to 20 milliamp generator. And so as you see there on the display where it says 20.00, that is all it does. It's just give you the raw milliamp output. Now, if you wanted to have a scaled version of that, you certainly could do that with another one of our products. You could put a simple loop-powered meter next to this and have it scaled appropriately. But this particular unit is just designed to be an easy way to generate a 4 to 20, so it doesn't have any kind of scaling capabilities. I also have one more question I want to address here, which is, do we have brackets for the lights? And right now we don't, because most of these are going to be installed on the units. And as I'm sure you can realize, if you're installing this on the units, say on the top of the Helios or the enclosure, then there is no bracket there. It's just installed directly in the box. If you are buying the light as a separate accessory, you will have to have a way to mount it. But at the moment, we don't have a specialized bracket for that. It's a very easy hole to just drill and install, and we haven't had anyone who's having an issue with that. Though it's a great idea, so I do appreciate you asking the question. And also are getting a couple of questions, including from Bob and Jeff, about part numbers for those last 2 4 to 20 generators. The low-cost signal generator, the handheld unit, is a PD9502. And that is the complete part number. And the panel mount version is the PD420, and again, that is the complete part number. So I wanted to thank everybody for attending here today. My hope is that we learned how these new lights and horns can add visual and audible alarm capabilities to your ProVu and Helios. You saw the wide range of different ways you can program and wire these, and it will hopefully give you some ideas and get the juices flowing about coming up with some ways that you might be able to wire these up or program these so that you can get the alarming capabilities you need, whether it's a simple red light or it's a color-changing system with several different lights meaning different things. And we talked, I think, at length, so to the point where it's clear that our ProVu and Helios 24-volt transmitter power supplies can power your transmitter, your loop, and your light and horn most of the time. And if they can't, we've got to plan to deal with that because we've got a secondary power supply you can get that will provide 1.5 amps. If you have other questions, then I'd encourage you to give us a call. You've got my contact information here on the screen. We're here to help you with any of your application needs for display and control, so don't be afraid to reach out. I hope you found this presentation useful and you like our new products. And again, I would ask you as you leave here today to fill out that survey on your exit so we can get some feedback on this webinar as well as future webinars and or products that you might like to see from Precision Digital. I thank you for your time, and I hope you all have a good weekend coming up. Thank you very much.